They say trust is the foundation of every great relationship: business, friendship, love, even faith. But what they don't tell you is that the same trust that builds you can also be used to break you. Trust is a double-edged sword. It's the bridge that connects hearts, and sometimes it's the blade that cuts them apart. You give it freely to people you believe deserve it. You open your heart, your world, your secrets, your dreams, and for a while it feels right. Because trust makes everything beautiful. It makes the impossible seem possible. It makes you believe that loyalty still exists in a world that forgets its meaning. But then one day, without warning, it happens. The same person who swore to protect your name uses it for their gain. The one who promised to stand beside you pushes you over the edge. And that's when you realize trust isn't just about giving someone your confidence. It's about giving them the power to destroy you and believing they won't. When betrayal hits, it doesn't scream. It whispers. It's quiet, cold, and it leaves you questioning everything, not just about them, but about yourself. Was I blind? Was I too kind? Was I foolish to believe? You replay every memory, every moment, every word, looking for signs you missed, for lies you ignored, for warnings you silenced. And the hardest part isn't losing the person. It's losing the version of yourself that believed they'd never hurt you. But here's the truth few ever understand. Betrayal isn't the end of you. It's the revelation of who you truly are. It strips you bare, removes your illusions, your comfort, your naivety, and leaves behind something raw, powerful, unbreakable. Pain introduces you to a version of yourself you never knew existed. A version that doesn't need validation. That doesn't need applause. That doesn't chase approval. A version that knows peace doesn't come from people. It comes from purpose. When trust becomes a weapon, you have two choices: bleed from it or sharpen it into wisdom. You can spend years drowning in anger, rehearsing revenge, telling the world your story from a place of pain. Or you can rise quietly, powerfully, and let your success become the loudest chapter of your redemption. Because the most dangerous person in the world is the one who has been betrayed and still chooses to build again. There comes a moment after the storm when the anger burns out, the tears dry, and the silence begins to speak louder than the pain ever did. That's when you realize you can't go back to who you were. You've seen too much. You felt too much. And once trust has been shattered, you don't rebuild it the same way. You redefine it. You stop chasing loyalty in others and start building it within yourself. You stop expecting honesty from everyone and start living so truthfully that no lie can touch your peace again. Because sometimes the betrayal wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to redirect you. The universe has strange ways of showing us who belongs in our story. It doesn't whisper. It removes. It doesn't explain. It exposes. It doesn't always give closure. It gives clarity. And clarity is painful because it forces you to see what your heart refused to. But it's also the most liberating truth you'll ever face. You see, trust doesn't die when it's broken. It evolves. It learns. It matures. You begin to understand that not everyone who smiles with you stands with you. Not everyone who praises you protects you. And not everyone who walks beside you is walking toward the same destination. When you rise from betrayal, you rise differently. You love slower, but deeper. You trust less, but wiser. You give, but you also guard. You start recognizing energy, not words. Consistency, not promises. Intent, not performance. And in that awareness, you become untouchable. Because no one can manipulate a soul that's awakened. I've learned that betrayal doesn't just teach you about people. It teaches you about you. It shows you how much pain you can survive, how much chaos you can turn into creation, how much darkness you can transform into discipline. And when you realize that your heart, even after being shattered, still beats with purpose, still believes in goodness, still hopes in humanity, that's when you've truly been reborn. That's when you stop being the victim of betrayal and start becoming the architect of your rebirth. Because the truth is, You can't control what others do to you, but you can control what it does to you. You can't choose who betrays you, but you can choose what you build from that betrayal. Some people let it make them bitter. Others let it make them brilliant. And the moment you turn your pain into purpose, you've already won. There's a moment somewhere between heartbreak and healing when you finally understand forgiveness isn't about them. It's about you. It's not about excusing what they did. It's about refusing to let what they did continue to control your life. You don't forgive because they deserve it. You forgive because you deserve peace. Holding on to anger is like carrying fire in your hands. You think you're punishing them, but you're the one burning. So you let go, not because it didn't matter, but because you matter more. I learned that life will test your trust, not to break you, but to build your discernment. It's the universe's way of sharpening your soul, teaching you to see beyond the masks, to hear the silence behind the smiles, to sense truth in the spaces between words. And once you learn that, once you awaken to the reality that your peace is sacred, your time is currency, your energy is gold, you start protecting them like treasures. You stop chasing closure from the ones who cause the chaos. You stop begging for explanation from those who lied with a straight face. You stop lowering your vibration just to be understood, because now you understand yourself. And that's enough. The greatest revenge is not hatred. It's elevation. It's becoming so focused, so grounded, so aligned with your purpose, that the betrayal becomes irrelevant. You stop saying, "Why did they do this to me?" and start saying, "What did this teach me?" You start realizing that betrayal isn't the end of your story. It's the plot twist that introduces the strongest version of you, the one who builds boundaries without bitterness, the one who gives without expectation, the one who walks away, not in weakness, but in wisdom. And somewhere down the road, you look back and realize the pain that once made you question everything is the very thing that made you become everything you were meant to be. Every scar, a signature of survival. Every heartbreak, a hidden form of growth. Every betrayal, a silent teacher whispering, "Now you know who you are." So don't curse the pain. Thank it, because it forced you to evolve, because it stripped away the illusions, because it showed you your own power. They thought they broke you, but they built you. They thought they ended your chapter, but they began your legend. And one day, when your light shines so brightly that even the shadows bow, you'll understand. The weapon they used against you, trust, was the very thing that turned you into steel. There comes a day when you wake up and the pain that once crushed you no longer feels like a weight. It feels like armor. You realize the storm that came to destroy you was the same storm that washed away everything that wasn't real. And for the first time in a long time, you breathe freely. No anger, no resentment, just peace. Because healing isn't about forgetting. It's about remembering without bleeding. It's about standing in the ruins of who you were and still smiling at the strength of who you become. The people who betrayed you, they didn't break you. They revealed you. They showed you what you're truly made of. You were never weak for trusting. You were pure. You were never foolish for believing in goodness. You were human, and that's your power, because this world needs hearts like yours. Not hardened, not closed off, but wiser, sharper, and still open enough to love again. When trust becomes a weapon, you have two choices. You can live in the wound, or you can rise through it. You can stay trapped in bitterness, or you can build your empire from the ashes. You can spend your life proving others wrong, or you can spend it proving yourself right. And I promise you this, there's no greater revenge than a peaceful heart and a purposeful life. So take that pain and pour it into your craft. Take that heartbreak and turn it into hunger. Take that betrayal and let it ignite your greatness. Because the best stories, the ones that move nations, inspire generations, and awaken sleeping souls, are written by those who refuse to die in their suffering. They rose, they rebuilt, they rebirthed themselves. And maybe that's you. Maybe this right now is your rebirth. Not the end of your story, But the moment you stop surviving and start living, the moment you realize that trust, even when it's been weaponized, can still be reclaimed by trusting the only person who will never betray you, yourself. You are not what they did to you. You are what you chose to become after it. So rise, shine, and remember, sometimes it takes being broken to finally understand what it means to be whole. There's a strange peace that follows pain, not the peace of forgetting, but the peace of understanding. When you've been through fire and survived, you stop fearing the flames. You realize they can't burn what's already become light. You stop chasing validation. You stop craving apologies. You stop needing people to see what they refuse to understand, because you see it now. You see yourself clearly, and that clarity becomes your freedom. Once upon a time, you needed people to believe in you. Now, you've learned to believe in yourself. You no longer beg for loyalty. You embody it. You no longer wait for support. You create it. You no longer search for peace. You protect it. The version of you that cried for closure, that fought to be understood, that begged for love in unworthy places, that version has served its purpose. You've outgrown the battlefield. You become the calm after the war. Rebirth isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself with fireworks. It's quiet, steady, and deeply intentional. It's in the way you speak less, but say more. The way you walk away, not out of weakness, but wisdom. The way you smile, not because life is perfect, but because you are finally at peace with its imperfections. That's growth. That's power. That's rebirth. You see, betrayal was never your ending. It was the awakening. It taught you that sometimes the greatest blessing is being forced to stand alone, so you can realize you were never truly alone. There was always a voice inside, a quiet whisper saying, "Keep going. You're not done yet." And now you know that voice. You trust it more than any promise, more than any person, because it's yours. So walk forward, not with anger, not with revenge, but with alignment. You don't need to prove anything anymore. You don't need to chase what's already meant for you. You just need to keep walking with grace in your heart and fire in your spirit, because the ones who betrayed you, they gave you the one thing they never expected you to have, your power back. And when the world looks at you now, they won't see the broken soul they once tried to destroy. They'll see the storm you survived. They'll see resilience disguised as calm. They'll see strength wrapped in silence. They'll see a spirit that turned pain into purpose and betrayal into rebirth. This is who you are now, not a victim of trust, but the master of it, not a casualty of betrayal, but the proof that nothing and no one can destroy a soul that chooses to rise. Because when trust becomes a weapon, you learn to wield it, not against others, but for yourself.